Hello aspirants, with nearly around 75 days more for prelims, there is nearly around 75 more days, or you can say that prelims is nearing around the corner, and many of you would be wondering why exactly is new IAS coming up with such a strategy video right now. That is, we don't have adequate time. But again, many of you, I know that you are in different levels of your preparation. That is, many would be just starting it. That is, at the beginner stage, you will be going to start or you will be perplexed on how you need to start your preparation. There are some other category also. There are some who actually are in the midway round. That is, you would have completed half of the portions or half of the chapters in Lakshmikant, and you are eagerly looking forward for completing the next half or next 1/4 within the targeted date or within or as soon as possible, so that you can start your revisions. And again, there is another class also who would have completed the Lakshmikant 1 or 2 times, again revising it, and again looking forward to complete as soon as many as questions that is available for you, so that you can reinforce whatever you maybe you have studied. So irrespective of whatever your preparation level is, this video is actually addressing each and every category in a holistic manner. And why you need to understand, you need to watch this video, is that you need to watch this video so that you will be able to make the needed corrections, or you will be able to adjust the needed corrections for your preparations in the coming days, so that you can make your preparations in a more effective manner. So again, a piece of advice for your beginners is that understand that prelims is not what you are targeting for. Ultimately, your target is to be among, that is to get your name listed in the rank list, in the final rank list. And for that, you need to compete, or you need to complete this mains as well as your interview. So make your preparations, or try to come up with your preparations in such a manner that it addresses the demands that is required in mains as well as for that of interview. So accordingly, make the required changes. Now, moving on, what exactly you need to understand here in this prelims, that is, as far as prelims is concerned, is that you need to understand what exactly UPSC is demanding from us. That is, you need to understand what are UPSC's demand. And UPSC's demand, see, understand that it is natural for any employer to look into the employee's quality. And what exactly happens is that the most appropriate candidate would be the one who will be matching the wavelength or the requirements of employer. Similar principle also applies here. That is, you need to understand what exactly is the demand of UPSC, and accordingly try to adjust yourself so that you raise your bar so that you be able to adjust, or you be able to adjust the requirements or complete the requirements that UPSC demands. And from where do you get this demand? That is, where do you understand what exactly the UPSC demands, etc.? It's nowhere. That is, it is none other than understanding the syllabus. Syllabus, in fact, syllabus in fact gives you a peek into what exactly the employer requires from you. That is, here it is the government, of course, but again UPSC is conducting the exam. So what exactly UPSC demands from us? And of course, from polity aspect, what we can see is that here it is Indian polity and governance, and it is specifically speaking about constitution, political system, panchayati raj, public policy, rights issues, etc. So here what you need to focus is that it is actually speaking about Indian polity. So understand that focus mainly upon Indian polity, that is within India, and also about the governance also, that is various initiatives or the various lacunae that our governance is issuing, which are in the current affairs, is also a potential area for prelims. And most probably, or the most important part which you need to focus, is upon the constitution. Of course, Constitution of India is the most important one. It's actually the basis upon which we need to build our preparation for UPSC. So in Constitution also, what you need to understand is that there is nothing like, there is nothing like understanding in a precise manner what exactly this article stands for, or what exactly that is Article 213 stands for, or what exactly Article 123 stands for, 143, Article 368, Article 356, etc. Need not understand what exactly these articles are all about. Don't by heart the provisions of this article. Just understand that what exactly this article stands for. And through the options itself which UPSC provides for you, you will be able to understand, you will be able to reach the answer which in prelims in fact. So here what you need to understand is the conceptual knowledge which you need to have as far as your polity is concerned. So from constitution part, what you need to focus is that the various provisions of legislature, of executive, of judiciary. See, from legislature's point of view, there is parliament as well as state legislature. In parliament, what exactly, who are membership, that is, you have 2 houses, and the membership qualifications, the tenures, also the proceedings, the budget proceeding, the various motions, the committees, all these you need to, and the various strength of these committees, what are the speaker's powers, the chairperson's powers, the deputy speaker, deputy chairman, etc. Even president also, legislature consists of president also. So here what you need to focus is that you need to understand what exactly are the various provisions that has been enlisted in our constitution. Again, certain provisions are there which are not enlisted in the constitution, but again Indian parliament or Indian legislature has taken it from British parliament, which from where we have inherited our parliamentary form of government. So from these, all these, that is, which have been inherited or which have been adopted, which are mentioned in the convention, which are mentioned in the rule, which are there in the which of these provisions are mentioned in the constitution, etc. You need to have a crystal clear idea about it. And that's the reason why from your provisions, that is the various provisions of constitution, you need to have a crystal clear clarity of what exactly are the provisions and more details about what exactly the provision speaks about, etc. And these actually saying the same also is present or is applicable for executive as well as for judiciary. That is, for judiciary you will be able to know what exactly are the requirements or the qualifications in order to be a Supreme Court judge, in order to be a High Court judge, and what all are the writs, etc. that are being used, the various jurisdiction of Supreme Court, etc., etc. So so that exactly means about constitution. The statutory bodies, the constitutional bodies, the extra constitutional bodies, these all are things which you need to focus as far as your constitution is concerned. Now, what exactly is political system? Many of you would be thinking that I'm actually speaking from my personal view, that is, many of the candidates have approached me and said that this political system refers to the political parties, the various ideologies these political parties have, etc., etc. Please understand that it is not having any resemblance or it does not have anything to do with the political parties' ideologies or how these political parties are functioning in today's world or in today's India's democracy. In fact, political system denotes the parliamentary system of democracy or the parliamentary form of democracy which we have inherited, the federal system which we are having, the various other provisions that is we are having, that is like the manner in which our administration functions, etc., etc. So basically the political system is speaking about the manner in which our administration is going to function or our administration is functioning. And here again you need to keep in mind, you need to have an understanding about where exactly that is our comparison vis-a-vis with that of the presidential form of government, and what is the advantage, what are the disadvantages, etc., etc. So that is exactly you mean by political system. Coming on to the Panchayati Raj institutions, this is also most important one. Everyone actually thinks that Panchayati Raj institutions which are being asked in the question is actually basically because it is mentioned in the constitution. Again, since it is explicitly mentioned in our syllabus, it means that this is actually definitely a potential part for your question for your UPSC prelims as well as for mains. So understand that in Panchayati Raj institutions, you also need to understand that there are several committees which are suggested for Panchayati Raj institution. That is the early forms of Panchayati Raj institutions which were present even during British Raj and also in independent India. And also what all committees have functioned and have actually resulted. These committees' recommendations have actually resulted in the formation of 73rd as well as 74th Constitutional Amendment Act. And what are the provisions which have been mentioned in the 74th Constitutional Amendment Act, 73rd Constitutional Amendment Act, and you need to have a crystal clear idea about what is in the 11th schedule, 12th schedule, etc. So as far as Panchayati Raj institutions are concerned, as PESA Act is concerned, everything, these are very important because it is specifically mentioned in your syllabus. And other than that, public policies, the various initiatives which government is taking, the various initiatives which similar to that of the paralegal volunteer which government has recently initiated, etc. So these are in fact some of the initiatives which public policy or the various or the important acts which the government is coming up, or which the judiciary have in fact added up also. The recent one being that of euthanasia. So these etc. are actually something which are the new developments in the field of polity. So these are some areas which you need to focus. And rights issue, etc. These are actually the general ones. So specifically what you need to focus is that the constitution, political system, Panchayati Raj, and also the recent initiatives in the sphere of public policy, both from judiciary as well as from executive as well as from a legislature's point. So these are some areas which you need to keep in mind. Now this prelim, from syllabus point of view, if you are looking at, you actually get a broad idea. In fact, that is a broad idea from where the questions would be coming from, where exactly, or the syllabus. That is, you'll be having the detailed idea about what exactly syllabus is consisting of. But again, you need to have a precise idea. That is a precise understanding about from where all topics the questions are mostly asked, which all topics are needed to be more emphasized while you're revising, etc. So that you can get from previous year question papers. That is, revising the previous year question paper, there is no alternative to that. So it is a very most important activity that you need to keep in, you need to do before going for prelims. So I will explain what all are the advantages. In fact, the main advantage is that you will be getting a estimate number of questions that would be asked, both subject wise as well as topic wise. That is, subject wise means you will be able to understand that the number of questions which prelims, for prelims, the number of questions that would be asked from polity, that would be asked from history, that would be asked from geography, economy, environment. These are the 5 important areas as far as your prelims is concerned. And the number of questions you can you can look up as far as IR or science and technology, etc. is concerned. So going through the previous year question, you will let you know, or will let you have a trend about the questions, the type of questions, or the minimum assured number of questions that each and every subject would be having. So that is one of the most important part. And the other most important part as far as subjects is concerned, within the subject itself, which all topic you need to emphasize, which all topic you need to have a generalized understanding, etc. You will be able to understand once you analyze the type of questions that has been asked in that prelims previous year questions. So the topic wise importance, see, there are several topics which would require a generalized information. That is, you need to have a general information about it. While at the same time, there would be certain other topic also which requires a much specialized or a much in-depth knowledge. So that, etc. you'll be able to understand when you go through this topic wise segregation. And that's the reason why New IAS always recommends you to go for prelims previous year question papers. It is a very important activity which you need to understand and you need to undertake before going for your prelims D-Day. So accordingly, if you understand the topic wise, that is the amount, that is topic wise segregation, the subject wise segregation, etc., you will be in a better position to decide on the type of preparations, on the type of that is on the level of preparations you need, and you need to focus as far as your prelims preparation is concerned. That is, whether you need to have a general preparation or whether you need to have an in-depth preparation, etc. You will be able to understand once you actually analyze and get the topic-wise segregations, etc. So the type of questions, the type of preparations, etc. depends on the analysis of previous year questions. And more than that, you will also be able to get an intuition, that is the areas from which, or the areas from where the questions would come. That is, these areas are sure shot areas from where the question has to come, because for the past years it is asking, or it is being continuously asking, which means that it is a sure shot area. So in such a manner you will be able to remodel yourself. That is, you will be able to understand these are the most important potential area, and thereby you will be able to understand the areas. So these are the advantages of previous year questions. So this is making you understand what exactly or why exactly you need to undertake these questions, or analyze what exactly prelims previous year questions are all about. Now, as far as polity is concerned, we have segregated it, and these are the topic wise segregation of prelims that has been asked since 2011. Remember, since 2011 the pattern of questions that has been asked has changed, and that's the reason why we are looking from 2011, that is from the new syllabus point of view. So new pattern point of view, sorry. So here what we can say is that Parliament and state legislature, it carries a maximum number of weightage or maximum weightage when you look into the number of questions that has been asked. In 2011, or you can start from here, that is 2011, just 2 questions were asked. But in 2012, it increased to 6 questions. 2013, it reduced to 4 questions, but again 3, 4, 1, and in 2017, it increased to 6 questions. So which means that at least you can expect nearly 3 to 4 or 4 to 5 questions from Parliament on a maximum, in fact. So that's the reason why Parliament and state legislature is very important, and you need to have a clear-cut idea about the various provisions or the various committees, etc., which are functioning in this parliament, as well as state legislature is concerned, you need to understand what exactly state as legislative assembly is all about, legislative council, how they are constituted, etc., etc. So this is what you need to focus from here, from this area, that is parliament and state legislature. Now moving on, the second one, the most important one is salient features. What exactly salient features is all about? The preamble, the various kinds of features which we have borrowed from other constitutions, etc. So these are the salient features which we are mentioning here. So from 2011-12 there was no question, but in 13, 14 and 15 there was one question each, and in 17 there was 4 questions in fact. So which means that slowly the UPSC is moving towards the conceptual level questions. So making is trying to understand, is trying to weigh whether you have understood the concept behind all these provisions. So that is the reason why in 2017 you can say that there was 4 questions, that is salient features, what exactly our constitution stands for. So these have been asked, and the third most important part is the fundamental rights. That is, even though in 2011 and 12 there were 2 and 1 questions asked, in 2013 to 16 you can see that there were no questions in fact that was directly related to fundamental rights. But again in 2017 you can see that 3 questions were asked in fact. So 3 questions in fact denotes that the importance of fundamental rights is increasing, and in fact it has been in news also. So we will relate exactly how actually these current affairs are getting its reflection upon our conventional areas also. But again, just understand that fundamental rights, these 2017 etc. was propped up because of the current affairs that was burning at that time. Now directive principle of state policy, 2 questions have been asked. Even now also DPSP is there, because many a times we see that the cow slaughter ban etc. These are actually figuring in. So many are arguing or supporting this cow slaughter ban, saying that it is actually a part of our DPSP. More than that, UCC, that is Uniform Civil Code, or the triple talaq etc., it is actually having its implication on DPSP, and as a result you may get a question also from DPSP. So that's the reason why DPSP is very important. You will be getting at least 2 questions on an average. Next is fundamental duties, that is which has been added in 42nd Constitutional Amendment Act, and it has actually, though it has not been mentioned, or it has not been asked in 2016, 14 as well as 13, minimum 1 question I believe you can get from fundamental duties. And union and state executives, of course it is also there, that is union and state executives, you may get questions, that is regarding president or the prime minister, the council of ministers, etc. So this union and state executive, that it also includes governor, the manner in which governor functions, especially wherein president rule or state emergency has been declared, etc. So which means union and state executive is also very important. Local government, as we mentioned earlier, that is Panchayati Raj institutions, that is, it has been mentioned explicitly in our syllabus. So which means that local self-government or the local government is also playing an important role, except for 2014. You can see that in rest of the years at least 1 question, and on an average you can expect 2 to 3 questions. That is 2 questions at least from local self-government, which means that local self-government is also very important. Judiciary, it's very important because judiciary over the years, in fact NJAC Act was brought in. Along with that you can see that it was struck down, and right now MOP, that is Memorandum of Procedures, coming up, and also recently the Supreme Court Collegium has actually set up a new form in which the additional judges, they are actually being analyzed, their performance is being analyzed. So these etc. are in current affairs, and that's the reason why you will be getting a question, or at least 1 question. In fact, on an average you will be getting at least 1 question from judiciary. And the other one, that is constitutional bodies, you can see that is constitutional bodies like CEC, that is Chief Election Commission, UPSC chairperson, or UPSC in fact, or you can say about the other ones. So here what you can say here is that on an average you can expect 1 question from this constitutional bodies, and extra constitutional bodies you can also expect 1 question, 1 to 2 question. So statutory body, it is not that much important, but again there are questions that has been asked. So amendments, there is a various kind of amendments that has been brought. Center-state relations, there is interstate council etc. recently, which is in news in fact, interstate council. So here what you need to focus, this is how you need to understand about interstate council. It was in news. So these are very important area as far as center-state relations are concerned. Finance, property, contract or suits, the various laws that have been passed with regards to this, and the various types of actions that has been taken by the executive. So these are very important. Scheduled areas and scheduled tribe, scheduled tribe areas, these are also very important. That is, but again, you cannot actually say comparatively it is not that much important. But I don't say that it is not that much important. It is not important at all. But see, weightage wise, we can say that these are carrying lesser weightage, and that's the reason why I said. So on an average, you can expect one question. So miscellaneous, that is the other types of question, like we will discussing it later. So the other type of questions, it also carries 3 questions. It was asked from 2017, etc. So what we can say is the total number of questions that has been asked over the years. 2011, 10 questions. 2012, 21 questions. 2013, 17 questions. 2014, 12 questions. 2015, 14 questions. 2016 was actually it was shattering everyone's dream. It was just 6 questions that was asked. But 2017, it drastically went up to 23 questions. So on an average, you can expect up to 15 to 18 or maximum 20 questions, in fact, from polity, which makes it a very, very, very important area. So polity, be sure that you crack these questions and you capture all these areas, and that's the reason why I gave these areas. That is where you need to focus the areas, that is Parliament, State Legislature, Union Executive, these areas, fundamental rights, etc. These are the most important one where you need to focus, and you need to revise several times. While constitutional bodies, there have been asked just 1 or 2 questions may ask, that is from constitutional bodies, statutory body, extra constitutional bodies, etc. And that's the reason why I said it is very important, that is you need to understand category wise where UPSC asks a lot, that is where UPSC actually focuses, and accordingly make the required changes in your preparations, in fact. So now we will look into the previous year questions which has been asked. That is the kind of questions that UPSC is asking. First is about Parliament. I said earlier that is Parliament and State Legislature are most important because very important because there have been several questions. There have been several questions which are related to this Parliament. So the first question which has been asked in 2017, in fact, Government of India exercises control over the functions of Council of Ministers through adjournment motion, question hour, supplementary motion. Select the correct statement answer using the code given below. So here I am not intending to discuss the answers, but I am trying to show you the areas from where the questions are being asked. So here what you can say is that you might have studied, that is while revising your Lakshmikant, etc. I am sure nearly 95% or 99% of the students would be actually going through this Lakshmikant, and you would be studying what exactly this adjournment motion is, what exactly is this question hour, what exactly is this supplementary question, etc. But you would not have understood why exactly this is there in the constitution, or why exactly it is mentioned in the rules book. So that's the reason why the question here, that is the Parliament of India exercises control over the functions of executive, that is the Council of Ministers. This is actually an application level question. So just understanding the theory, etc. won't do. You need to have a conceptual knowledge and you need to put that into the application level. That's what I intend to show from this question. So please do not by heart all these provisions, etc. It may fetch you some marks, but again, you will not be able to clear this prelims if you are studying in such a manner. You need to focus on the application level. That's what I meant here. Next question, that is, consider the following statements regarding a no confidence motion in India. There is no mention of no confidence motion in the Constitution of India. A motion of no confidence can be introduced in Lok Sabha only. So what happens is that some of you would be able to understand, or would be able to answer this, but many of you would be thinking that, okay, no confidence motion, is it mentioned in the Constitution, or yeah, it should be mentioned in the Constitution, right? It is there because confidence of the Parliament is required, or in the Lok Sabha is required. So yes, it would be there. So yeah, exactly. So no confidence motion should be there. So that is the manner in which many of you would be thinking. But again, the first statement, I won't be discussing the answer here, but again, leave it. But the second question, so second question, you know, many of you would be making it correct. That is, you all might be knowing it. But the first question itself, you will be making it wrong. So even if you get one statement wrong, these two statement type of questions are very tricky, in fact, because only unless you get to know both these statements, you will be able to answer it in a correct manner. So if there is no elimination techniques, etc., which you can say from here. So what we can say here is that this actually requires a more, it is not something like you need to learn, you need to look into the Constitution directly, or you need to go into this, that is D.D. Basu or Subhash Kashyap textbooks, etc. There is no need for that. What you are studying or what you are learning, learn it at an application level. This would fetch you marks. So this is actually the question that has been asked by Parliament. It was asked in 2014 in fact. And next is about salient feature. This is yet another conceptual level question. See, democracy's superior virtue lies in the fact that it calls into activity A. the intelligence and character of ordinary men and women, B. the methods of strengthening executive leadership, C. a superior individual with dynamism and vision, D. a band of dedicated party workers. So this time actually many of you would have actually referred to several notes, several textbooks, etc., and would have found the answer. But what I am trying to understand or make you understand here is that here what exactly is being asked? Is it asking for the characteristics of what exactly is the characteristic of democracy, or what do you mean by democracy? No, it is asking for what is actually the democracy, the conceptual question, the concept behind this democracy. So here again, it is a very easy question. It's a very easy question. So you could have answered it when you are remaining cool, or you understand that there is no hurry. You actually think in a calm manner. You will be able to understand what exactly is the answer here. So this is a type of question that has been asked in 2017. Now another type, that is as far as fundamental rights is concerned, which one of the following statement is correct? It was asked in 2017. Rights are claims of state against the citizens. Rights are privileges which are incorporated in the Constitution of India, Constitution of a state. Rights are claims of citizens against the state, and also rights, option D, Delhi, that is rights are privileges of a few citizens against the many. So this seems actually for many of you it would feel the same, that is it is something perplex or it confuses a lot. Once you understand what exactly this fundamental rights stands for, or what exactly what is the main purpose of fundamental rights, you will be able to understand what exactly is the answer for this particular question. So similarly, you have another question. The National Green Tribunal Act of 2010 was enacted in consonance with which of the following provisions of Constitution of India? 1. Right to healthy environment considered as a part of right to life under Article 21. Obviously, it is saying that it is actually a part of right to life. Second one, provisions of grant for raising the level of administration in scheduled areas for the welfare of scheduled tribes under Article 275(1), which, okay, I am not discussing answer here, but again understand that there are several blunders also. If you just read it, you will be able to understand it. And powers and functions of the Gram Sabha as mentioned under Article 243A. So this is a very simple question that has been asked from in 2012, that was asked from fundamental rights. So understand that there are several questions which is a direct, straightforward, and there are several questions also. There are several questions wherein you will be able to understand that if you make one statement wrong, you will be able to understand that, or eliminate one particular statement, you will be able to understand the question here, the answer here in fact. So the next question, that is of Union Executive. So the question is, it was asked in 2014, consider the following statements. First statement, the President shall make rules for more convenient transaction of the business of the Government of India and for the allocation among ministers of the said business. Second statement, all executive action of the Government of India shall be expressed or to be taken in the name of Prime Minister. So these are some questions which are asked. So this is a very simple question you will be able to understand, and you will be able to do it right now itself. So another type of question that has been asked in state executive, which of the following are the discretionary power that has been given to the governor of states? So what happens is that you would have actually learned what exactly are the discretionary power, what are actually the various legislative power, what are actually the executive power of governor, etc., etc. The judiciary power or judicial power of governor, etc. But you would not have studied in such a manner that you will be able to answer this question. By sending a report to the President of India for imposing the President's rule. Again, you will be wondering whether this is a discretion or not a discretion. In Lakshmikant, it has not mentioned. You will be thinking like that. I am not sure whether it has been mentioned. So, but what I am trying to say is that you will be actually restricting your thinking just within the confines that has been placed before or by these textbooks or by these guides. So try to think outside it. Try to think at the application level. Try to think at the conceptual level. Only then you will be able to understand what exactly the answers for these questions are. And these are these are actually the demands of UPSC. So understand it. Appointing the ministers, reserving certain bills passed by the state legislature for consideration of the President of India, making the rules to conduct the business of state government, Obviously, you all know that what exactly is the answer for this. And if you have not, don't worry, as a beginner, as you progress through the stages, through the various chapters, you will be able to understand what exactly is the answer. Again, another important one, that is Panchayati Raj institution. It was asked in 2017. Local self-government can be best explained as an exercise in A. Federalism, B. Democratic decentralization, C. Administrative delegation, D. Direct democracy. This again is actually a conceptual level question. You would have studied what exactly is Panchayati Raj, local self-government, etc. But you would not have thought about its concept that is related to it or the application level. So you would be finding it very difficult here. But again, this is a very simple question here. So the next question, that is the Constitution, 73rd Constitutional Amendment Act of 1992, which aims at promoting Panchayati Raj institutions in country, provides for which of the following? That is, it was asked in 2011 question. It was in 2011 year. So first one, Constitution of District Planning Committees, State Election Commission to conduct all Panchayat elections, establishment of state finance commissions. So select the answer using the code given below, etc. So what you can do here, you can eliminate itself. That is, you need to be precisely, what I can say here is that at the day of your exam, it should not be like you would be studying around the clock and you are sleeping by 2 o'clock in the morning and waking up by 6 or 7 in the morning, going to the prelims that is at the center, and there so we are going to do the prelims, that is, you are going to attempt the question. This is a wrong pattern. You need to be clear, you need to be fresh, you need to understand what exactly your mind need to understand. Your mind need to be very, very alert while you are trying to write the exam. There is a trick in this question. That is the reason why I am saying this. So here the Constitution, 73rd Amendment Act. It is precisely saying about 73rd Constitutional Amendment Act. And it is saying about it. At one glance itself, you would feel actually all these three are correct. But again, if you are precisely understanding or you are looking or you are grabbing this particular keyword, that is 73rd Constitutional Amendment Act, you will be able to differentiate what are the provisions which have been mentioned in 73rd Constitutional Amendment Act vis-a-vis with that of 74th Constitutional Amendment Act. So that is what I am trying to say here. That is, try to be clear or fresh when you are trying to attempt a question. And also you need to have a crystal clear clarity here. That is, what is actually the provision that has been mentioned in 73rd as well as that has been mentioned in 74th. These actually tends to be mixed up by the candidates or the aspirants. So next one, who or which of the following is the custodian of Constitution of India? The President of India, the Prime Minister of India, the Lok Sabha Secretariat, the Supreme Court of India. It was asked in 2015. Many of you would be finding it difficult right now also, I believe. So it is actually a simple question in fact. We will discuss later. What is the provision to safeguard the autonomy of Supreme Court of India? This is a question that is asked from Judiciary. So it has been asked in 2012. So it is asking for safeguarding the autonomy of Supreme Court. First one, while appointing the Supreme Court judges, the President of India has to consult the Chief Justice of India. The Supreme Court judges can be removed by Chief Justice of India only. The salaries of the judges are charged on the Consolidated Fund of India, to which legislature does not have to vote. And fourth statement, all appointments of officers and the staff of the Supreme Court of India are made by the government only after consulting the Chief Justice of India. In fact, this actually is some sort of application level question, but again it has been mentioned in Lakshmikant and other standard textbooks then and there itself, right then and there itself. So what we can say is that you may have learned about it, but certain options seems to be confusing for it, especially the fourth one, that is all appointments, etc. And also the second statement. So whatever it may be, there are certain options or there are certain statements which you would find it difficult or confusing. So have a crystal clear clarity while you are studying. Try to revise it again and again. So on an overall, what I would like to stress here once again is actually the area from where questions are mostly asked. So Parliament as state legislature carries a maximum weightage in fact. The second one, that is salient features, fundamental rights, directive principle of state policy, fundamental duties, union and state executive, local government, judiciary, constitutional bodies, extra constitutional bodies, statutory bodies, amendments, the various amendments, center-state relations, finance, property, contracts and suits, scheduled and tribal areas, miscellaneous, etc. So these are actually the various areas from where accordingly you will be getting questions. So you need to focus in such a manner. So on an average, what you can expect is that you will be having at least 15 to 18 questions which would be asked exclusively from prelims. So this is the pattern you have to follow, or to be on the safer side, you need to focus, or you need to give the required importance for polity. So 15 to 18 marks means how much marks? Nearly approximately you can say that nearly 40 marks you may make it correct if you are actually correcting this polity. So that is very important. That is 40 marks from polity means it makes a huge difference. Along with that, these conventional subjects like history, economy, geography, etc. these actually fetch you a lot of marks, and that's the reason why try to focus on these conventional subjects before revising the current affairs again. So the average type of questions which you can expect is 15 to 18 marks. The marks you can 15 to 18 questions in fact, and the marks is nearly approximately you can expect up to 40 marks on an average. There is also a general trend among the aspirants saying that polity is actually something that is conventional subject. That is, there is no current affairs that is related to it, or you won't be getting any current affairs. You need to focus on conventional areas alone, etc. That is just a myth. I would like to say that is just a myth. So what happens is that as a polity student, a serious polity student, what I would like to say, advise is that keep a tab on the developments that is occurring in the political system, that is in the constitution, or what is happening in the administration in our country, and accordingly you will be getting questioned. See, it will not be asking directly. See, an example which I would like to say here is that recently the government, the opposition parties are considering for coming up with a no confidence motion in the Lok Sabha. So what happens is that the government, the speaker has actually said that since the house is not in order, it is not the apt time for introducing it. So it has been criticized once again by the opposition party against the government, and etc. etc. So as an aspirant, what do you need to clarify, or what do you need to keep here in your mind is that this is a potential area. It will not be asking that the opposition party has brought no confidence motion against the government. Why is it that the speaker has not allowed it? You will not be getting a question like that. Instead, you will be getting a question which we discussed earlier, that is what exactly is no confidence motion all about. So here, as an aspirant, what do you need to go take care here is that you need to take up your notes, your standard textbooks, your standard notes, what you're following here, etc., and then revise the concept of no confidence motion. What exactly no confidence motion tries to achieve, and what are the procedures which are actually behind it? From where is it mentioned in the constitution? From which convention we have taken it, or from which rule it has been mentioned, something like that. So the entire concept, what are the motions which are similar to that of non-confidence motion, which can be introduced right now, or which is actually trying, which makes the government, or which forces the government to resign, and what happens if no confidence motion is not passed, etc. So what you need to do here is that you need to go behind the concept, you need to go behind it and then understand what exactly, or you need to thoroughly revise what exactly this no confidence motion stands about. Similarly, you had recently an act that is a ruling by the Supreme Court saying about passive euthanasia. This makes it a very potential area for your question, that is for your prelims. That is, you will be getting what exactly passive euthanasia is all about, or something like that. So what you need to keep in mind is that you need to understand what exactly Supreme Court's verdict was all about, and you need to understand what exactly passive euthanasia means about, and what are its implications, etc. So this is also fetching you marks for your mains also. So it has an implication on mains also. So keep that in mind while you are actually preparing for prelims. And so that's the reason why what we would like to say here is that current affairs, there is a relation, and if there is anything that is coming in the current affairs, try to go beyond it. That is, try to cover the conceptual knowledge or the application level knowledge that is lying in that particular current affairs, and accordingly make your preparations or channelize your preparation. So naturally the question arises, so what is actually the standard textbook or standard guide which I need to focus, or which as an aspirant I need to focus, or I need to rely upon? So here, without me saying itself, I am sure about that 90% of you would have bought Lakshmikanth textbook or guide and would have started it. Lakshmikanth textbook or guide is an apt one. But again, more than that, what I would like to say is that Lakshmikant book is actually a guide. It actually guides you through the various process or various actually questions that has been asked, and appropriately they have said or they have incorporated the various provisions. And DD Basu is the most appropriate one. It is actually the most authoritative ones which you can always take while preparing for civil service. But again, within the short span, especially if you have gone through this DD Basu, you would have find it that these the language that is used is in a much legal manner. And that's the reason why what I can say here is that you need to focus on the standard textbook like Lakshmikant, NCERT, NIOS, everything would do fine. But again, along with that, you need to augment it with the standard notes. That is a standard notes which provides a in a standardized manner the concepts, which makes you understand the concept that is behind it. So Neo Notes actually compares it and actually conveys this particular knowledge. That is, we try to make you understand from the mains point of view. That is, gives you a brief analysis, a brief in-depth analysis about what exactly are the notes all speaking about, or what exactly are the provisions is all about. So, standard notes, it need not be Neo itself, but what I am saying is that you need to rely on standard notes along with your standard textbooks. So, many of you would have completed Lakshmikant, many of you would have completed, would be doing it, but these are good. Try to supplement it or try to augment it with standard notes. And most importantly, what you need to understand here is that you need to try maximum test series as much as you can, because what exactly this help? There is many of you, I have seen it personally, there is many of you would be trying to avoid this test series. That is, you would be actually trying to avoid this test series, saying that I will do it later. Postponing it won't do any goodness. You will not be in a position to do it in a later time. That is, you won't be having that much time, and that's the reason why whenever you have access to test series, then and there itself complete it. And again, what I would like to say is that try to join a standard test series. That is, a standard test series is very important. That is, you need to keep in mind, or you need to go through the previous year questions, try to understand what exactly or what is the pattern of questions that UPSC has asked, and again some of the previous questions which have been asked by several institutes. You can actually go for our Neo test series also. It is a standard test series. We actually try to make it, or we are trying to match it with that of the UPSC pattern, and that's the reason why we strongly recommend you to go through this or apply for this Neo test series. So the advantage is that it brings you clarity. That is, the more questions that you try to solve, the more clarity you get upon a subject or upon a topic. And that's the reason why what I would like to say here is that try to solve maximum questions, maximum standard questions. So again, most importantly, without saying itself, I can say revision is a very, very important component which no one can skip. So revise as much times you can before you go for the final D day, that is on the June 3rd. Go for it. That is, with the maximum revisions, you will be maximum revisions and also attempting the maximum test series. You will be in a much better position so as to answer the questions, the tricky questions, etc. Be crystal clear. Be fresh while you are going to Be fresh while you are going to answer the questions, etc. I am sure you will be able to clear prelims, especially the polity part. It is easy, in fact. And now, moving on to the next part, in order to help you or in order to augment your preparations, I am stressing upon the word augment, or it is not trying to supplement, it is not trying to replace your preparation. It is just we are trying to augment your preparation. We are releasing a new series that is known as Let's Revise series. So this is a series which we will be starting, that is, it would be going from 75th day onwards down till day 1, wherein we will be discussing one question each, and depending upon the demand from the aspirants, we will be increasing the number of questions that has been discussed. It is a video session, it is open to all, that is, it would be there in the YouTube channel, and here what you can say, you can see here is that we will be discussing one question at its initial stage. There is one question, and it may be of UPSC, that is previous UPSC questions. It may be of the model questions which we are framing here, and also it would be it may be relating to the current affairs, that is with respect to current affairs. So whatever it may be, what we are trying to do is that we are trying to augment your revision. That is, we are trying to augment your preparation by selecting an area. That is, we will be selecting an area and we will be revising it. And after this revision, after this short revision, we will be actually answering this question. So what happens is that after a short revision and after answering this particular question or the question which we are giving, you will be in a better position to understand, or you'll be having a better clarity in your questions. So that's the reason why shortly we will be releasing this Let's Revise series. Follow it regularly. So that's it about strategy video. I strongly believe that right now you would be in a better position to understand from where the major topics, the important topics, and effectively you'll be able to bring in the changes that is much needed or that may be required in your preparations. So that's it. Looking forward for meeting you in our Let's Revise series. Thank you.